Welcome to Weekday Somatics. So as we're preparing to get started, we're not started yet. We're preparing to get started. We can. My invitation to you is to observe in simple terms. Just observe your state. Notice what clues you have that you use to determine what your state is. So you have an idea about your state. You probably have many ideas about your state. You probably have ideas about judgments, whether you like it or don't like it, whether it's good or not good, whether you're successful or unsuccessful. You probably have all kinds of ideas about it. You can notice, though, that underneath the ideas and there's also, you'll probably also notice a kind of, well, it's the same thing I was about to say. It's okay. You probably can notice underneath all of that there's a striving, straining of some kind to get somewhere or get away from something or understand something or achieve something or fix something. There's some kind of strain. So the one key insight that I hope to share through these explorations, one that I sincerely believe is directly available to you presently, right now, is the insight that the concern about the state, and frankly, any attention to the state whatsoever, is in the wrong direction if what we want is true fulfillment. And I really want to emphasize that this is, I genuinely believe that true fulfillment is an experience of yourself that is available to you right now, regardless of what you think. And I'm suggesting that this inquiry can make that clearer to you, clearer to all of us. Anybody who's willing to look. So choose my suggestion. This is my suggestion. I suggest that you choose, that you make a conscious choice right now to be here for the next 30 minutes. Or why not forever, but at least for the next 30 minutes. And you might think all kinds of things about that, like, I don't know how to be here, or how do I know that I'm here, or of course I'm already here, whatever you may think about it. There's a much gentler, more intimate experience of yourself that is available to you if you don't get hung up on the thoughts. If you don't get hung up on trying to get the right answer, but instead just look in this direction. Just notice as I was suggesting that there is a habitual drain of fixation on state, concern about state. How am I doing? And that habitual fixation, as I say, it's a drain because it's drawing your attention in the wrong direction, if what you want is true fulfillment, which I know you do want true fulfillment. So I don't even have to say if. You want you want true fulfillment, so that's in the wrong direction. The right direction is to where fulfillment is, which is here. It's very simple. And if your mind has an objection to that claim, then let it have its objection, but just notice what I'm pointing to. There's a fixation on the state. There's a concern about, am I succeeding or failing? Am I getting it or not getting it? What is this going to do for me? And see that all of that's in the wrong direction, because all of that is outward, pulling outward, straining, efforting, trying. And there's right now so gentle, so effortless, so simple. Prior to all of that, your most intimate experience of yourself that never goes away. It's always here, always. You don't have to go looking for it because it's here. And what I'm proposing is we can learn to trust this. Who learns to trust that? It's just an unraveling of that habit. It's an unraveling of the habit of looking somewhere else. And my promise to you, my promise is this. This is what you want. This will fulfill all of your true desire. Only the conditioned mind suggests otherwise. And out of habit, we believe it. That belief is happening superficially. That belief is when we accept that this constellation of unrelated phenomena, the sensations, the images, the memories, the thoughts, and all of it, when we accept that that is true, that that association is real, that they really are related, and that they form a thing, and that we have a relationship to that, and that it is a problem for us and we need to do something about it, that's the suffering. And then we go off into all of these stories, all of these theories about what I need to do in order to fix myself so that in the future I can achieve what I want. And we have all these ideas. I need to be very comfortable. I need to be very flexible. I need to be very forgiving. I need to be very generous. I need to be very whatever, on and on and on. And that we have the cart before the horse. It's an idiomatic expression. What I mean is we have it inverted. We've got the wrong order of things. Fulfillment is here. It is primary. Everything else flows from that. All of the things that we think we have, the conditions we think we have to set up first, they come from this, which is primary. So my promise to you is that all of the conditions that you think that you need in order to have fulfillment are not conditions for fulfillment. They can and very well might, in fact, almost certainly will, if you truly desire them, they will flow from fulfillment, which is your true nature, which is just this simple presence here now. Now, the mind will object to that. It will continue to object to it, but keep looking. That's what I'm inviting us to do, is just to continue to look and see that this fulfillment is actually here. It's truly here. This is a promise that has been given. It's been handed down in succession. And those who receive that, those who trust that that promise is true, receive the immense benefits. So I want to say that just one more time, because I want to say something one more time, because it really is so, I think it's so important. All of the conditions that you think you need for what it is that you really truly want, those conditions are false. You think that you need to feel a certain way. You think you need to achieve certain outcomes. You think that you need to have certain states. You think you need to have certain external conditions, financial conditions, relationship conditions, whatever. All of these conditions. Your body needs to be perfect in some way. You need to understand something. All of these conditions that you think you have before you can have fulfillment. So, okay, great. This is what I really want to get to. We can discover that fulfillment presently, and all we do is we uncover everything that is not true. And we can do that somatically. That's what these explorations are. So with all of that preamble, discover within yourself a gentle, loving presence. This is yourself. You don't have to look far for it. Anything that is other than this, anything that says you need to try harder, shame on you, you're not getting it, this isn't it, you're in the wrong direction, you should be doing something else, all the rest of it. For the next 30 minutes, just be willing not to indulge that. Just don't give attention to that. Don't reject it. Don't push it away. Don't fight with it, but just Be willing to trust in this invitation, this beautiful offering that has been passed down. The offering is the pointer that the true fulfillment you seek is already here within you, and it's so intimate, so close that you cannot get out of it. Now, let us uncover it. Let us get clearer on it. So, from this gentle, loving nature, find a posture that you can inhabit for the next 30 minutes. And let it be a posture that you can inhabit with courage. So what does that mean? If you're inhabiting it from courage, you must be connected to the support to have that courage. If you are cut off, you cannot have courage. If you are cut off, you don't have any stability, you don't have any support, you feel all alone, you become desperate, you flail, you seek, you become very, very afraid. That's how we've lived our lives. So this is different. And this is the challenge. We think that we've got to become outwardly great, outwardly powerful, but the real power comes from surrender. Surrender to this gentle nature that allows us to have courage. We cannot be truly afraid when we know that we are held always perfectly in this loving embrace. But we cannot know that loving embrace if we continue to armor ourselves, because all of the armoring maintains the lie that I have to do it on my own, that I'm all alone, that I'm cut off, that it's all on me. It's all about me. I've got to figure it out. I've got to try harder. That's so miserable. Just be willing, at least for the next 30 minutes, to just set that aside. So be in this posture with courage, knowing that you are supported, immense support. Support truly beyond anything you could conceive, anything I could conceive. It's enormous. If you could see it, if you could perceive it, you would be amazed. So be willing to receive that by just trusting, and trusting in your gentle, loving nature. This gentle, loving nature does not push you. It does not judge you. It does not condemn you. It does not say you must try harder. And you can't hide anything from it. So you are free to be completely unguarded. Now, when you are in this posture with courage, receiving this support from this gentleness, does that mean that it will be completely easy? No. because the same guidelines that I usually give still apply. We're not seeking to collapse into unconsciousness. We're not collapsing into our habits of craving and seeking. We're not seeking for comfort somewhere else. We're having courage to trust in the gentleness and the support that's here and allow it to provide the buoyancy that makes us light. So it's very important that you really hear that this is not about pushing, and neither is it about collapsing. Those are the ways in which we fall off the edge to one side or the other over and over and over because we have these habits that we identify with, habits of violence. So this is the challenge. If there's a challenge, this is it. If you feel challenged, if you perceive yourself as challenged in this, that's okay. Don't give up. Don't give up in your inquiry into the truth, but do be willing to give up your defenses. Do be willing to give up your self-judgment, your condemnation, and your fear. Be willing to surrender all of that. So how do you surrender that? There are probably many ways, but in this approach, this somatic inquiry, we are inhabiting this posture, and what that means is that we're choosing to remain still. It wouldn't be a posture if we were not still. Then it would be a blur. So the posture means that we're choosing stillness. That's why it's so important to be in touch with this gentle, loving nature, because that allows us to have confidence that we are safe to remain still. Notice how fearful you have been of something so simple as being still. So fearful that you haven't been still. You've been, if not moving outwardly, moving inwardly, looking and seeking and craving and indulging and avoiding and rejecting and resisting and pushing and pulling and all of the rest of it. So I want to make it clear, you may be sitting, you may be lying down, you may be standing on your head. You may be lying on your side, you may be lying on your back, you may be lying on your stomach, you may be reclining. You may be on a couch, you may be on the floor, you may be on a chair, you may be in your car. This stillness is available regardless. And I'm promising you again that this is what you really want. All that you really want is already within this. Really, honestly, I promise you that. You don't need something else. You think you need something else. Now, this has practical application in your daily life. In order to make that clear, we need to get clear on how it is that we indulge our habits, how we go unconscious, how we place our faith in external conditions. And we can do that. We can get clear on that now. As we get clear on that together, then what I'm hoping for all of us is that we can see the mechanisms by which we do that, the way in which we leap from our true, gentle, loving nature into the violent, mechanical habits. Then we have a choice. And that's when we can begin to apply this to our daily lives. So I hope to make this clear. I hope that this becomes clear to you through this inquiry. Now, depending on the posture that you are in presently, you may be able to do what I'm going to suggest next, or you may not. If you're unable to do so because of the way in which you are positioned, then you need not do it. I hope that's clear, but I'll state it explicitly. Don't do anything that I suggest if it's not appropriate or convenient for you to do. If you are able to do so, take your fingertips of either hand. It really doesn't matter, whichever hand you wish, and bring them to the sternum. Actually, slide them up slightly so that you're certain that you're touching bone. I want you to be very certain that it's bone. So if you have any doubt whatsoever that whether it's bone or not, go up a little further until you're sure that it's bone. So there are ribs above the sternum, and then so that would be bone. And then slide the fingers down until you're not sure that it's bone anymore. Should notice it slightly softer. Now, for most of us, this area is going to be very armored. You will be surprised how high up the soft tissue goes. This rib cage, this point here where the xiphoid process connects to the ribs, much higher up than you think, I bet. I can say that with a fair degree of confidence because I think almost everybody is in what Thomas Hanna would call the dark vice, where the front side and the back side are contracted and we don't know. We don't even recognize it. All we know is that we can't seem to get a satisfying breath. We feel anxious. We can't seem to sit up straight. Our lower back maybe hurts. We get headaches, grind our teeth, all these things, irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, leaking urine, all these things are so common. Everybody, nearly everybody. Commonly accepted as just the symptoms of aging. What it is a lack of awareness and we can undo all of that right now. So with the fingers there, don't push hard, let it be light, but let it be enough contact that you can feel there. And this is a key thing that I really want everybody to be able to experience and understand. What I talk about often, the external and the internal perception. They support one another. So if we simply use inward perception, it can be more challenging, especially at first, to get clear. It's certainly possible. But if we add to that this external perception through the touch by applying the fingers to a part of the body, and we combine that with the internal perception so that we are now have two ways to understand the experience and to cross-reference, it can be very helpful. So notice what you're feeling under the fingertips and ask yourself this question: am I sure that it really needs to be like that? Does it really need to be so hard and so tough and so numb and so uncomfortable and so armored, gripping? Does it need to be like that? Could it possibly be softer? Might that be okay? And notice the breathing. Now the breathing is going to add movement into this area. Unless we're gripping so hard that we're bracing against that movement, which maybe many people do. But see that it's possible to start to let the breath be gentle so that we're not gasping for air. You might not even realize you're gasping for air. You might think you're breathing normally, but see that it can be gentler. And let each breath gently move this area here under the fingers. And let that movement, so it's not, you're not doing the movement, the breath is doing the movement. Your job is to be aware and to soften any unnecessary effort. So allow the breath to be natural, that you're not doing it. You're not introducing unnecessary or unnatural turnarounds in the breath. You're not holding the breath. You're not drawing deeper breaths than are necessary. You're not forcing the exhale. Of course, you're doing all of those things to start. But you're becoming aware of that bit by bit, and you're slowly softening, releasing. So don't try to produce the correct answer. That will just introduce more strain. Just gently soften the unnecessary effort that you become aware of. Let each breath, each natural breath, gently move and massage this area. It's very gentle, very subtle. So don't, when I say massage, don't think that it has to be some sort of deep tissue thing. And notice that with each breath, you can allow for this area to soften. You might notice even that your torso is lengthening, the front side in particular. You might notice that your chest is longer. And your abdomen maybe is longer. The distance between your throat and your pubic bone is longer. You might start to notice that your chest is softer. Well, you might not recognize it as softer. So let me just say your chest feels different. Notice whatever ideas surface about what this means. And just don't introduce any unnecessary effort. Just continue to lightly rest the fingertips on this area just below the ribs at the center of the chest. Let the breath be natural and gentle and smooth and unforced. Even if you don't know what that means, you don't know what that means. You don't know because you haven't breathed gently and naturally in your whole adult life. So don't think that you can get the right answer. You don't know the right answer, but the right answer is here. You can discover it. It can reveal itself to you if you're willing to surrender to this process, to this natural, gentle, loving process that is revealing to you all of the strain, all of the ways that you were trying so hard. And just release. Notice that you have this ability to soften when you become aware of the effort. When you become aware of the hardness and you realize by asking this question, does it need to be that way? You necessarily realize, at least on some level, oh, it doesn't need to be that way. Well, then who was doing it? I was. So who can stop doing it? I can. Nobody else can stop it, but I can. And I stop it not by layering more effort, but by surrendering the effort. Now, here's the thing. The reason we maintained all of this unnecessary effort was because we were afraid. And this is where it becomes something you can apply practically to your daily life. So continue to let the fingertips be here. Let the breath continue to flow gently and naturally. Continue to become increasingly aware of the habits of unnecessary armoring and strain and hardness and rigidity and numbness, defensiveness, all right here, stored in this tissue. And let it soften, let it release, let it lengthen without knowing what that will look like or feel like or be, because you don't know. If you knew, you would have done it already. So you don't know. Just surrender. Continue to surrender. And then here's the practical application. Your we'll say sternum for just a way to describe it, can always be supple. The circumstances the circumstances of your life do not dictate that the sternum must become rigid, armored, hardened, or numb. To whatever degree you have now become aware of the possibility of softening here, and maybe it's been very great and maybe it's been very small, but I'm certain that anybody who does as I have just suggested, as I'm suggesting that you continue to do right now, will discover a softening here. I'm certain of it. There's really, I cannot understand how it would be that somebody would not experience a softening here. The mind might say not, but you can tell the truth, which is that there is a softening here. There has to be, because you've become aware of that strain and you've been choosing to soften. This is this amazing power that you have. I know you have the power. It's inherent in you. Even if you haven't developed great skill with it yet, you have the power and you can soften. If you've done as I've suggested, you have softened, even if it's just 1/10 of 1%. And you can be aware of that softening. And the more that you continue to make this choice, the more surrendered you become. And the more surrendered you become, the more you are in touch with your innate fulfillment. And this is the wonderful news about the practical application. This fulfillment is available always unconditionally. The circumstances of your life cannot dictate this, even when the phone rings. Even if that sound seems to startle, even if it provokes some conditioning, some thought, some image, some whatever. Notice that you have this ability to continue to soften, to continue to remain in touch with, surrendered to, and surrendering ever more deeply to this fulfillment. I really cannot overstate this. This is such good news. This is the key. Receive this now, hear this now, and act from this. And I promise you, you will not suffer ever again. From this moment forward, you will not suffer. From this moment forward, if you really hear this, you don't have to have any great skill in this yet. You don't have to have any great attainment. It doesn't matter. Just this simple recognition and then acting from this recognition. I promise you, you look and see, test this out. There will be no more suffering. There will be only fulfillment. How is that possible? Because you are recognizing where the fulfillment is. And you're recognizing, this is what I'm pointing to, when you apply this in your life, you are recognizing that this fulfillment is unconditional, and the only thing that overshadows it is the compulsive indulgence of the habits and the misidentification as that. So here's how you apply it. Remain unarmored. Simply observe when the habit resurfaces, when you clench. And I'm specifically talking about this area here. This applies throughout the body, but just for now, right here, because this is enough. If you just hear this and trust in this and put this into practice, I promise you this is enough. It will unwind everything. So you can start to notice when the circumstances present themselves and then you react, and you can just observe how you justify it. You say, well, it has to be that way. It's how it's always been. When these things happen, I must. If I'm startled, I have to. If people are behaving in a certain way, I have to. If things aren't going my way, I have to. If I'm afraid, I have to. If I might lose something, I have to. If I don't have enough money, I have to. If I don't like the weather, I have to. If I'm uncomfortable, I have to. You know the secret. You don't have to. If you want fulfillment, which you do, and you recognize that this is fulfillment, and to whatever degree you do, you must. You may not fully trust it yet, but you recognize it to some degree. Continue in this direction. Continue to cultivate that trust through practical application. See that what I'm saying is true. You don't have to. You get to choose to remain true to your nature as gentle, loving awareness. Open, free, untouched, completely fulfilled. And see that nothing can disturb that. That's the practical application. All that was ever happening was that I was reacting. And then I had stories about that. And I gave my attention to that instead of recognizing what's true. Does that mean this will be easy? No. Of course, it could or it could not be. But it doesn't matter whether it's easy or not, because it's possible. It's possible for every one of us. So see now, release slowly the hand. Just remain aware of that softness. And you know that this softness is possible. You know it's possible because you're experiencing it. And if your mind says, well, it's gone now. Well, so what? You did experience it, so you know it's possible. And then just ask yourself this question. What is it that possibly could impose that upon you? What could impose this tension, this contraction, this armoring, this hardness, this numbness, this rejection, this resistance, this indulgence of the habit of thinking and justifying and anger and resentment and oh my goodness, all of it, all of it. You see, all of it, every single last bit of all of the way that we have generated so much misery, all of it is completely optional, and it's none of it is true. When you recognize this, that this softness is here, it's available, and that all you have to do is just trust in it and surrender to it, and not indulge the old habit of armoring yourself. I promise you, this is it. This is all you need. Or if you need anything else, it will flow from this. So if your eyes have been closed, begin to explore opening the eyes and see that you can do so without disturbing this softness. See that you can actually allow anything to happen without disturbing this softness. Whatever visual stimulus occurs, whatever auditory stimulus occurs, anything that happens, see that this softness can remain. And if you get startled and you react, fine, see that you can soften again. Once you've tasted it, you have tasted it. Once you've tasted it, it's here. You can taste this again and again and again, and there's nothing that can interfere with that. It's only an idea that says otherwise. For those who are here live, we'll stay on for the Q&A. For all of us, just recognize that we don't need to hold ourselves so rigidly. For those who are watching the recording, thanks for joining. I'm going to end the recording now.